Hey, it's Chad here with White Dads Can't Jump. Wanted to give a quick movie review. I just got out of Mission Impossible Final Reckoning, so I wanted to give a spoiler-free quick review of the movie in case you're interested in going. So a little background information on Mission Impossible. I did see the first one in theaters back in 1996. They had a nice little callback to opening day in the movie as well that I think you'll appreciate if you have been throughout the series with them. I also love Tom Cruise, so I know he's a little crazy. Scientology's a little weird. I watched a whole show about it a couple summers ago. But dude can act. He's still pushing the boundaries, and he's still one of the few movie stars we have left. So we talk about the movie. So this is a direct sequel to Dead Reckoning, which came out a few years ago. That movie wasn't received quite as well. It was a little boring, convoluted plot, I thought, in the Dead Reckoning. It was definitely kind of a step back from the previous movies. My favorite in the series is Rogue Nation, part of the reboot of the second trilogy there after the first three movies. But this one picks up a couple of years, I guess, after Dead Reckoning, and Tom Cruise is in search of the entity, the AI that is taking over the world and is threatening a nuclear Armageddon. So he is still jet setting around the world trying to find the coordinates of the submarine that was sunk in the first one. And this one's much more action-packed. You can tell it's the second of a two-parter movie where you kind of get a lot of the exposition out of the way, and this one just dives right into the action and the pursuit of the entity. The antagonist, Gabriel, is back in this one. He doesn't really have a very large role in it. A lot of people are kind of sidelined in this one. It's mostly a Tom Cruise epic. There's some action sequences with the rest of the crew, but for the most part, it's a Tom Cruise-centric movie, which is kind of the reason people are going to see this anyway. In terms of things that I did like, the plot was very straightforward. He knew what he needed to do. Again, there was some pretty good callbacks from previous movies. One thing I really did not like was they shoehorned in some of the plot details from previous movies, especially Mission Impossible 3. They kind of give an explanation of what the rabbit's foot is. If you remember Mission Impossible 3, that was the whole plot point, and nobody knew what that was, but they kind of shoehorned it in to this movie, which I didn't really like that aspect of it. I also didn't like the fact that the trailer kind of gave away a little too much of the movie's sequencing. There was some intense scenes with Tom Cruise doing some covert operations, but obviously the tension is lifted when you know that you haven't seen the final airplane scene that you've seen in the trailer or on the movie poster, so I could have done without that. But other than that, I think it was a good 2.5 hour movie. No post-credit scenes or anything like that. But it's a decent conclusion to an 8-part series is the best you can get. There's a little teaser, I guess, at the end that he might be coming back. Who knows if that's the case, but it was good. Like I said, the things I did not like were kind of shoehorning the ideas to connect the series from the beginning to the end, because if you are familiar with the series, you know the first three, and then there's the gap, and then there's kind of the reboot with Ghost Protocol. So it's a little different tone of a movie, but they did try to tie that all in together. If you want to see a movie in the theater, I think it's good for that. Tom Cruise talks to you in the beginning of the movie and thanks you for showing up to the theater. So that's a nice little touch there. And apparently it's hailing outside. So there's that. So be safe.